Here and it's. So I will call the meeting to order on the September 8th. We have, the first item, for 6 o'clock, is just kind of a check-in with John. Welcome, John. Thanks for coming. And thanks for all the work this summer. Everything's looking really great from my perspective, at least. Fingers crossed it continues to be a smooth and quiet end of the year. We'll just see. Yeah, that's pretty excellent. It sounds like everything's good with the road crew. You're having trouble with trucks?
Well,
Getting.
Yeah. Been here for, it took a year to get it. It's been sitting up there for a year and it might be another year. Before they get a bed on it. And it'll last.
That's really insane to me.
We're not the only ones. There's like 60 trucks out there that have been delivered to Charlie boys. They can't get them. They don't
Shit.
bodies or flats.
Yeah.
Wow.
Aside from that, we're gonna be dipping into the highway budget stuff too, right after this. So
Yeah.
Maybe we'll just kind of run through a general update and how things are going in the summer, or any issues you may be having that we
just
keep on our radar, but
we just stocked our sand up
yeah.
and the boss cut me off when let me buy any more. And but last year we used 5,600 yards per truck.
Great.
Went out and we got into the bones area of the sand pile.
Yeah.
We could find somebody in there or something and just tree roots. And we just replaced it with 5,000.
Okay.
It depended. Last year was a rough winter because we were out almost every night or every morning.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of sand. The sand we bought this year is the gravel sand. There's gonna be complaints because they won't be able to see it. There's silver color in it, but it should work okay.
Well, I'm excited to see how it turns out. I know other towns are using more gravel-based sand and it seems to hold up better, and certainly when
It won't be slimy.
it won't be slimy, hopefully, yeah. But
We've got a really good rapport going on with the pit next door.
great.
They help us out a lot on different stuff. And they're making all that rock now too for that. There.
Are they crushing there, or are they just storing and mixing there? Okay,
They crushed 3/4 plant mix for us.
yeah.
And they crushed all that sand for us.
So they're hauling out of Woodbury and then they're crushing it there behind the garage.
They're nice to work with.
Yeah.
They come to our shop, but they're, I guess some of the land that we use is actually still theirs. They have a big pump down there. Little pump.
Yeah.
Other than that, we were at a truck show in May and we ordered tire chains. We had trouble with the ones that we had last year. That they used to be, we would rebuild chains over and over again. And now the sides are breaking. It's not worth rebuilding the side chains first. So we ordered a different kind. And it's from Reed Supply, and he told us he was gonna give us the pre-tariff price because we ordered them in May. But we were out of money already, so he's gonna bill us after July. We still haven't got them. And he just talked to me Thursday, came to the shop and said they're on a boat in Finland and they're going to get the tariffs.
Okay.
Trying to think here, and culverts. We've been using a lot of culverts.
Yeah.
We've been finding a lot of culverts that actually were still left over from the storms.
Yeah.
That were never, and a lot of our ditching that we're doing now, there's ditches we're getting right now that are from the storm. And we're having a chance, we're getting to some of the class 4s a little bit now. And like, there's getting roads like Quarry Road down Adamant, we're back on that again, and we're getting around. We're spreading it out, so we're not just in one location.
Yeah.
Right now, we just left Adamant. When it came down Leonard, we ditching. And we moved over to East Hill by the chicken farmer. We're gonna ditch from there to Marshfield Road. We got Ogden now, and
Mhm.
my boss thought he was an investment. It worked out pretty well. He, the pain having to tie up a driver with him for his time and all that, but he got his license first.
Yeah, that's great. I appreciate you working with them. It's hard. Yeah. And it's hard to find the time.
And
And
now we have another class A, so we have 3 class A drivers.
Yeah.
That can pull trailers and stuff.
great.
Broom mowing, we're really lagging on,
Right.
the one guy, you left. He's so hard to replace, but when we have a chance that we don't need an excavator operator and 2 truck drivers, we'll send someone that will.
Great.
I think we're doing good, except for, the cost of rising, because culverts are expensive, and, we just did Adamant Road. Going down the hill, we had some interaction with the public. That wasn't the best, but a lot of people appreciate what we're doing. And all the culverts, the metal culverts going down the hill are gonna need replacing, you can model it all out, but I'll let it go. Another year maybe.
I know up in Maple Corner, when you guys did the ditching with the drainage stone and everything, there was some hydro seeding or a little bit of seeding that went along with that.
Yes.
The other ditches, I imagine, aren't quite steep enough to warrant
We
the
did everything.
stone, but is that gonna get hydro seeded?
Yeah, we did hydro seed Adamant Road with Maple, down through the Adamant.
Okay.
But a lot of our hydro seeding isn't working because somebody forgot to rain.
Yeah.
And we booked up some stuff with the truck now, it's started to do, we have been watering when we can.
Okay.
That's another thing too, the magnesium chloride that we use, so I went way over budget last year with it.
Right.
Because of the binding agents of it that held the road together. And this year we cut it back, this is what we made us to cut it back. So we were mixing it with water, and then with the dryness, it's like, ineffective.
Yeah.
You are running a lot of water out too in the mornings. So the magnesium chloride is, so that on the road, it will absorb a lot of the water in the morning, but in the daytime, it just dries up fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just trying to stay on top of everything, and then we get multiple trees now, just giving up, I think. They're coming down, they're dry, it's just.
Yeah.
That's what happened on number 10 today. And our shop supplies, Drew's still there, he's doing a lot of work on vehicles for us. A lot of stuff that he didn't do, but nobody's certified yet for brakes or anything.
Oh, okay.
And we used to do that, but now it's getting if something ever would happen, it would go back on records.
Right. So what's the certification process then for that?
I talked to the foreman in Worcester. He said those 2 guys in Worcester went through, it was an auto parts store.
Okay.
Had the guy teach, it was an ex-state trooper guy, and he said he was real hard, but but they learned a lot, and they got 2 certified guys there.
Yeah, all right, that's interesting. I think that came up briefly. We had a meeting, Kari and I, a meeting not too long ago, just a chat with members of the Worcester Selectboard and town clerk, and we're just kind of brainstorming ways that we might be able to try to share resources or align ourselves around certain needs, and the topic of certainly of road departments came up, and the needs of the road departments. And I think, two major ways that comes into right off the bat are the like cooperative purchasing,
That was something that they discussed last, it's actually, Guthrie Perry from Montpelier mentioned it. At one of the local road program, and apparently the state had talked about giving a place, and the one example was get a tractor trailer of hydro seed bales, the mulch. And then that tractor trailer be divided between the towns, it's gonna be a lot cheaper than what we pay for it
Right.
now, and your grass seed, stuff like that,
Yeah.
even I'd probably not call this because where everybody's using different sizes, but there's a lot of things that we're talking about.
Yeah,
We
even
have,
like the standard 18 inchers, like those are gonna be your kind of run of the mill. For everything from, I think East Montpelier is recommending 18 if you can get away with it just for driveways and curb cuts and stuff
all our
like that.
driveways are 15s
Yeah.
right now, and then if we had 18s that were bad, we upgraded them to 24.
Yeah,
Anything like that was bad, we upgraded it, just.
Yeah.
We do have a good rapport with the other towns.
Yeah.
With Mike and, Plainfield and Guthrie and Sid.
Good.
And the guys in, Worcester, they said, about that municipal agreement thing, they said, well, we don't need that, just call.
yeah. I mean, I think that's generally the feeling, and we kicked it around quite a bit, and I'm glad you brought it up, but I think, it was really just kind of a formality for, I think, how we are fortunately already kind of in conversation with the neighbors and, both Worcester and Woodbury to a certain extent, and East
And
Montpelier,
Marshfield.
and Marshfield. But, I think when or if, we find ourselves in pretty acute need, it's just gonna create a formal mechanism for us to say, okay, well, here's the rate and here's the reimbursement that we're gonna need, should we not be able to get anything from FEMA for reimbursement on equipment usage and that sort of thing. So I don't think anybody really knows how it plays out, other than it formalizes the handshake agreements that we've already kind of been operating around.
It'd be okay if we gave up Random Road to Worcester.
Free?
No comment. Well, that's great. I appreciate that, and really do want to thank you for working with Ogden to get
We
his
still have
license.
hedges.
Yeah,
He said he's not working through the winter, but we drug him out a couple of times last year.
are you feeling good about the crew and everybody's training levels going into winter time?
Not yet. John's interested in bringing on another, like a temporary,
Yeah,
somebody you might know, local guy who is interested in getting a CDL, interested in being on the crew, but we don't have hours for them, so I think the first thing is for me to have a conversation with him and kind of feel that out, then
Yeah.
I'll bring it to you.
I think John, Kari had mentioned it to me briefly, and I think, with Ed, and, I think it could balance out nicely if you have kind of a seasonal worker like Ed, who has so much experience running grader and that, but doesn't necessarily want to be running through the winter time, but we
He
might
will,
need, he will if, we push him, but those days are gonna be numbered at some point, and it'd be nice to maybe start lining somebody up, even if it's just temporarily.
When he gets bored, he'll call the shop saying,
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
call me in.
I think it's snowing.
That's
Yeah.
it for you.
Yeah,
But I'll get breezed right through all that computer work.
That's great.
CDL test, and he'd be the person we probably have training.
We got a nice diversity of ages now in the crew.
Yeah.
that's good.
Who's doing the TikTok page?
There's not enough cell phone reception for that.
So I did want to say, John mentioned this, but I think this is like and I'm sure you're aware of this, but there are reactions to the new ditching.
Yeah,
I mean, Maple Corners is a good
I've
example.
heard about it.
Adamant Road, I heard from a couple people that, had strong feelings. Jack Hill, it's something that's coming up, and a lot of times I talk through it with people, I think it comes down to aesthetics in a lot of cases, but it is something that, is on people's minds. And like John said, other people are happy with it, like, oh, this is good, I recognize this is gonna protect the road in the long run, but it is a tension point in town.
The local roads taught us about that they're trying to, the ditches are a little deeper, but not, they look deeper than they are, but that's to try to give the base of the road a chance to drain out
Mhm.
to avoid the mud season. And that's from Todd Eaton. I don't know if you know.
So the other
Well,
thing, is the municipal roads permit has that standard, so
Yeah.
whenever we're doing a section of a road that's connected to water, we have to meet that standard because that's the state regulation.
Yeah.
And so the state standard oversteps what we have in the road and bridge standards at this point. So depending on where they are, what road they're ditching, that determines sometimes what they're doing
Yeah.
specifically.
Maple Corners, where we stopped our ditch, we were kind of planning on taking diagonally across the road and putting another culvert in. Right before the driveway culvert there and replace his driveway culvert, so it just run down. But then we found out how they put the existing culvert in.
The catch basin and everything.
Although we couldn't figure out why it was a 12-inch pipe or 12-inch culvert, but then down by the store, Ed was there. They drilled and put dynamite sticks in the ground, and they put the loader bucket over top and they blew it up because of the ledge, so that's why we stopped there till later. We're not sure what's gonna be across that street. I don't know if we can get. Yeah.
Well, and that always gets like that, like every year, the kind of clay boily behavior right off of the edge of the pavement there, you know, I think it'll be interesting to see what kind of performance we get out of the French mattress, area and whether or not, you know.
A lot of that Maple Corners that something has to do with it is, I think the salt travels.
Yeah,
All county gets up there and mixes in with that mud and that's.
definitely. But I think that may be one of those areas that it really makes sense to take some of these like design practices for going down into the road base and putting chunkier stuff in there that's going to suck the moisture out of the road. But, you know, I think that the other thing to note, I think with the ditching and this, I've been doing probably more reading than most on this particular thing, but there are other states that are very similar in their principle and their geometry who spec all of these things. It's not rocket science, but there are a few other different approaches relative to conditions on the side. And one of the big thing that they reiterate on some of the stuff I've been reading are the efforts afterwards, after the ditching, to make sure that the sediment's not going into the ditches that are freshly ditched. Because if you're putting drainage stone in there and then you've got sediment that's going to wash down on top of it or collapse down into it, then now you've got to double the cleanup issue because you can't filter it out of that. So
Well, the purpose of the ditch stone is to keep the hydraulic
right,
pressure of the slope from eroding the bottom of the ditch. So
Right.
it's not about sediment in the stone. In fact,
I
when we
understand
do the ditches after they filled up, we dig the stone out, put new stone back in.
right,
So it's really about stabilizing the ditch itself so that sediment doesn't run out of the ditch. That's what the erosion stone is meant to do. So even if there's sediment that gets in on top of it, that's just normal, that's what you would expect in that design. The other option, and we did this on Doug Lilly's hill once, is a French drain, so instead of an open ditch, you can put a piece of pipe in there, French drain pipe, that will then collect everything and run it down, and that ditch will be much shallower because you have the drainage down below grade. It just costs a lot more money because you're putting all that pipe in.
yeah, and depending on the design, you're putting fabrics and fabrics clog and all of that kind of stuff, and then, you know,
So
for sure.
The other thing is, the depth of the ditches when we do them are a little bit deeper because they sediment in, and within 2 or 3 years, you're back there again. So you might get 4 years out of a ditch if you start a little bit deeper, and it's, you know, it's. I mean, that's the design principle, is that we don't want to be coming back every 2 or 3 years for the same problem.
It'll be.
Yeah, and I'm not arguing, to be clear, I'm not arguing for changing the geometry of it. It's really, I think it's easiest for me to use the example of Maple Corner, where you've got an extra 3 to 4 inches of cut sod above the ditch that will eventually start to erode and come down. And so if that transition isn't as severe on top of the ditch stone, the only way to solve that is to go further in toward the property owner, and that's gonna come with its own layer of grievances, but at the same time, if we can rationalize it with
Driveway.
stability. Yeah.
Downstairs. We're on our depth equals that driveway culvert.
Right.
Yeah, so and that culvert has been clogged up for, and I didn't put it in, I don't think Ed put that in either, but.
Yeah.
It had been clogged, so that was kind of more or less the original depth. Unless we're bringing the roads up too high. We hear that too. That we
Yeah.
bring the roads up too high.
It'll be interesting to see how it all looks and shakes out in the winter with plowing too. That's the biggest concern I hear is depending on how the road's plowed, will the ditch become more or less invisible,
Yeah,
you know?
That is what
and-
I hear, it's not aesthetics,
it-
it's but the safety.
Right, and are people gonna, you know, especially right there on that stretch, even though people aren't supposed to park on that side of the road, they certainly do. Are we gonna have people sort of thinking they're going 6 inches out into the snow to get off the road and actually getting down into an invisible
Right.
ditch?
There are some ditches that are grown over with reeds and stuff, and people think it's a hard surface, and it's actually
Right.
2 feet deep.
Yeah,
So that visual issue is already there,
for
but
sure,
people need to stay in the travel lane.
yeah.
That's true, I mean, the cemetery, Robinson Cemetery Road, in front of the cemetery,
Hmm.
that was done quite some, I don't know, how many years ago it was done, but it's been quite a while, and it's
Yeah.
definitely grown in.
Right. Yeah, there's a ditch on Worcester Road up near halfway up the hill, and it looks like it's grass right off the edge of the road, and it's 2 feet deep.
Right,
So, so that issue is constant year round.
Mhm.
We need to-
Beware, I mean, maybe we should put in a line item for towing.
For towing or telling?
Towing,
can we,
Yeah,
can we talk about county road repaving? while
Yeah.
John's here?
please.
So I met with Norm from Pike this morning and we drove on County Road. They wanna do the repaving job on Thursday and Friday of this week.
Whoa.
And yeah, so we had discussed doing the southern half of County Road, because that's the oldest. That I think was done in 2012 or something like that. And then Marshfield and then northern half. But Norm's recommendation, and after driving and looking at it with him, his recommendation is to do the northern half.
Mhm.
And then there are a couple stretches we all know and love them, but a couple stretches on the southern half on the east side of the road that really need to be addressed.
Yep.
And what we discussed is him not doing quite half, but saving enough to resurface those rough patches
Mhm.
on the southern half.
Like they did on 14, little pieces here and there,
What's that?
like what the state did on Route 14.
Oh,
Pieces.
yeah, so just surface over where it's
Yeah.
particularly bad.
It is either Hayward 14.
They didn't?
No. They dump truckloads down in front of, a loader,
Hmm.
It's bumpy.
and they had a box and they pushed it along.
That's a much busier road.
Will it be there this winter? Who knows?
Yeah.
Well,
So anyway, that's the proposal, is to change a plan and do the other half.
so I guess I've got two questions, I guess, for the southern half of the sections that they're gonna be redoing. Like we have a proposal to do a Shimco one way or the other on whichever section they're gonna be doing. So if it's gonna be a Shimco for, an entire stretch of road, that transition's easier to manage than if they're trying to just kind of top dress something that's kind of spotty and gross and not well supported underneath it. So I'm not questioning necessarily whether or not we should take the opportunity. I think while they're mobilized, we should definitely try to figure out how to fix those problematic stretches, but are they gonna remove any material at all?
So he did say that, when you're just doing patches like that, the plows will catch them and it'll chip it away. It's not ideal, but the concern is, especially if we're gonna wait 2 years and do Marshfield next year, that parts of that road just won't hold up. And that was really the concern with the northern half is especially when you crest the hill before you come down into Maple Corners. It's, the edge of the road is so far degraded.
Right.
You said it's gonna migrate into the center of the road pretty quickly. And there just won't be anything there.
And the whole east
In a
side's
couple of
gone,
years.
up against those trees there.
So. I guess I'm curious how much it would, like, how much it would add and whether or not they'd be willing to consider, since we're talking about like. Maybe 100 feet section in one area, like right after the town line where
Yeah,
it
sort
comes
of at
down to the
bottom
curb.
there.
Like if we're talking about that 100 feet, we're like taking up a lane worth of asphalt and putting down a new layer as opposed to just trying to top dress the right-hand side of the right lane of the northbound lane, which is gonna have a pretty high likelihood of just getting peeled out.
We call Norm and get specifics about what the patching
Would,
technique is, so that we know what you're getting.
yeah,
'Cause I wasn't there this morning, so I, you know, I would have asked that question, but I don't know what their process is.
I guess I'm lobbying for, like, if we're gonna put the extra money into it and we're gonna wait another 2 years to touch the county road, is it worth putting in an extra like 25% for that patchwork to get something that's gonna be more stable for longer, as opposed to just kind of touching it off?
I thought it was the same treatment. It was just putting an inch and a half on top of everything.
No, so essentially if they're patching it, they'll either cut a square and put stuff in and who knows what the base is, and they'll just level it out to the existing surface of the road. So what they're doing on north or south end is putting a 1/2 inch shim coat to give a level surface and fill in all the voids, and then an 1.5 inches of a final coat.
Yeah,
And that's the process. That wouldn't be what they're doing on the patching part. The patching part is either they just cover over and you know, make it blend in, or they cut a square and then do a little more base preparation. I don't know specifically,
yeah,
because I wasn't there for the discussion.
yeah,
And we could get that information.
yeah, that would be good to know. I guess I don't know how we work through
And
an
then we can
approval.
estimate it per foot and we can measure what's going and come up with a number so we know what we're talking about.
And then,
Doing it Thursday and Friday, we need to know this pretty soon, right?
Yeah.
yeah, and have a mechanism.
I'll call them first thing in the morning and tell them to give us a number.
How long is he expecting the work to take?
2 days.
2 days. Yeah, so we're gonna have a mechanism for approving the expenditure, the extra expense, which. I mean, at this point, the only way to do that is gonna be
Should we
to pull it out
give
of
it
the.
up to? Instead of this discussion?
And my other question is how disruptive, one lane will be open at all times.
Right.
Correct?
Yeah.
Cause the Kent is open on Friday, and expecting, you know, hundreds of people. And it's unfortunate to have all the roads do it
So let me see if I get.
down at once.
Thanks, Toby.
Set them through Worcester.
Yeah, it'd be nice, I guess, if we could try to get signage down on,
Right,
down on Templeton Road and have them come up. Center
Oh, that's helpful.
through Adamant, or go, you know, like to go over through Adamant and then up. Adamant to,
or at least send, you know, have signs sending them on, you know, Bliss Pond
Mhm.
instead of going all the way up to
Robinson
Robinson
Cemetery in the back.
Cemetery.
True, a sign there that says Kent this way, yeah.
So there's like a seam, like right at the top crest before Bliss Pond Road. Is that the 1 mile mark from Maple Corner? It's like a,
It's
it's right in front of,
it's between,
intersection.
the old, Stanley Moore's farm and the next house to the north.
north.
That was
The
his.
Stubbs,
Okay.
Oh, interesting.
it's in there,
Oh, okay.
it's where that
So-
old barn used to be that. it was
Crooked.
neat, yeah,
Right.
Oh,
So-
is that far? Okay.
Yeah,
yeah.
so if they
If we said Bliss Pond Road, that would work.
Yeah.
miss most of the paving,
All of it.
yeah.
Yeah, except for.
Well, what time is the event? Is it
It's just the opening,
It-
it's just
well-
the opening day, it's not the.
Right, the opening celebration is Saturday, but the
Yeah.
Kent is open Friday 10 to 5.
They'll need this signage anyway.
Yeah.
Because of the Saturday, because of Kent Hill Road,
Right.
right, so they.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
The other question I guess I have, for Pike is that there's a, but I guess we're not really, well, one of the problem areas, I guess, on the southern area is where we've got some like spalling that's falling down into a driveway that's below the road grade. And whether or not they're gonna get into any conditioning of the curb cut areas.
But you're talking about that guy who did that himself with equipment.
I think he was doing other stuff.
He had a.
Coming in and out.
The traffic equipment got dropped off and they broke the road up.
Yeah, it was pretty bad to begin with, for sure. But there's another section of there are a couple of other driveways along that southern stretch that are
So could we,
suffering from the same thing.
could we just step back for a second and just say, so what are the downsides to doing the north section first? I mean, it is, like, what are the, previously the priority was to do the south first, as I understand it, just because of the age.
I seem to think it's worse.
yeah, the trade-offs are sort of the same. It's,
Yeah.
you know, whichever part we don't do has to, you know, hang in there for 2 years.
Yeah,
So it's a matter of which, you know,
and
Which is-
even though the section that they're gonna now say that they wanna work on is younger,
yeah.
it's
just
still a worse situation.
Yeah,
But everything they do is gonna be a Band-Aid.
Yeah,
It's, I mean, where I'm from, that's all I did was asphalt. And we would mill it down the dirt and bring it back up. And nobody would even think about paving over that crack stuff, but he said, Norm told me it's all gopher dirt here, there would be no base to find, and, you know, it doesn't matter what you put in.
he said that, you know, the treatment that they're going to do is expected to last 5 to 7 years. And if you completely rebuild it, he said they advise 7 to 10 years.
Hmm.
And at much more cost.
Yeah.
So you know, I don't really get it. It's so expensive.
but it seems like you have to do the total rebuild occasionally, you can't just keep building higher and
Yeah,
higher indefinitely.
And, you know, and when they do, tear up the road, it would be a mill, so you'd be milling the stuff that you pave down like into the roadbed, so if
Right.
you're turning the gopher dirt eventually into asphalty, gopher dirt, asphalt infused gopher dirt, but
They
like,
have machines that are.
Yeah,
that are
that
coming
are
down
doing-
and actually mill it and recycle it and put it
Yeah.
back down.
yeah.
At the same time?
Mhm.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
So,
Straight shot like that, would be way.
I mean, personally, I'm looking at this as trying to find. Under the assumption that like in 5 to 7 years, we should be planning on doing a like mill base treatment and
Mhm.
repaving of the road, right? This is just gonna buy us as much time as possible, and how do we get through the next 3 years without saying you guys spent, you know, a couple $100,000 and it's already peeling up in a year or two, you know, and so if we're already into it for a couple $100,000, I'd like to see something that's gonna better get us on the section that we're not doing, you know, better get us closer to that.
So he says,
4 or 5 year mark.
he's got the 2 days to do the north section. If we wanna shorten that up a little bit, the number will stay the same. He's gonna go measure everything on the south end that needs a patch and figure out what that number is. Or we can have a not to exceed, and he said that the patching might be 10 to 15,000. So if you wanna vote not to exceed, then we can have the full 1.5 miles on the north, plus up to 15,000 of patching on the south end that you've already approved. They just lay pavement over it and smooth it out. They don't dig anything up, so it's just, you know, it's just laid over.
Yeah.
And he's gonna come tomorrow and measure it all and give us an actual figure.
Or
that he would
they
understand.
mill the edges.
Huh?
They mill the edges where they start the patch.
I'm not sure what they do. I think they just lay it over, to tell you the truth.
I need to come in and mill, like
Yeah, just a transition.
Yeah, just.
Lock it in.
I think you have to, don't you? Otherwise you just have this hump, right?
I don't know what they're doing. No.
I can get the specifics on that. So you can either just leave it where we are and we'll just shorten the 1.5 miles to cover whatever we're doing on the south end.
And
Or you can get the full 1.5 miles and add some more money for the patching on the south end. Up to you guys. What?
We're expecting to contribute
Sure.
30,000 to this roughly, and we didn't budget for it, so it's just coming out of the
General fund.
general fund. But we did sell that truck for 35.
I mean, I'm thinking that. I don't know how we work through this, but like we have a not to exceed closer to like the $20,000 mark, and we asked them to do as robust a patch job as they can, and if that means removing loose stuff, like I really hate to think that we're gonna be paying anything to put anything on top of some of those sections that are just loose asphalt that are falling apart and falling away. I don't know if there's, if Norm's gonna say, well, it's a non-starter anyway, because if we need to bring skid steers or other types of equipment to manage that, it's gonna be.
Well, he's gonna come out to me, I'll measure it, I'll try to get in touch with him and give you some more information, so it's just a question of whether you leave a not to exceed number on
Yeah.
top of, so right now, I think the town share is 42,000 for a 1.5 miles.
It was in the 30s, I thought, but anyway.
Yeah, it's 40, I looked it up, it's 42,000 a
42.
share, and you got 35,000 for the truck, so you're looking at a $7,000 out of pocket from the general fund at
Right,
this point, move on.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
okay, so are we comfortable with throwing, I'm gonna propose a not to exceed of an additional $20,000 on top of the quote for that, and if that warrants shortening mileage relative to the linear feet that Norm reviews tomorrow morning, then I think if it makes sense, then it makes sense. I'm just trying to think of the uphill path.
So if you do put 20,000 in, I don't think you'll have to shorten up the 1.5 miles.
Okay,
I'll second that.
yeah, okay. And authorize Kari to approve that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll meet with Norm and
That'd be great.
I'll walk the spots and talk with him and make sure I understand the extent of what he's gonna do on each spot.
Can you send a short email to the select board?
Yeah,
Okay,
I'll report.
thanks.
Okay.
The last, sorry to drag this on with the paving, but
Well, right.
it's a lot, well, and it's starting in a few days.
Can this go on front porch forum like immediately? This is gonna be happening, so people know. Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to get the specific.
It's my recollection when we looked at the original proposal that we agreed to do, to use, our road crew to do the filling, the shoulder filling after the paving was done. And I think that was because it's a few $1,000s, we're already paying our guys, like maybe they'll have the time to do it. I think it'd be good before we decide to do that, John, please weigh in here, that maybe we revisit having Norm come back. It seems like it's gonna be a different set of equipment anyway, if they were gonna do that. So if we need to have them do a quicker, more thorough job in a way that doesn't, tax our guys' time for the wrap up of the season. I mean, I imagine they're gonna have to do it with like a skid steer and somebody out there.
It'd be handwork.
It'd be handwork.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, yeah, let me get that from Norm about what he would charge for the 1.5 miles
yeah.
to do the shoulder.
And maybe, I mean, I don't know if he thinks it's insane or not, but it seems like there's so much erosion on the shoulder of the unpaved section. It may be worth having a number for having them just dress the side of the road for the whole thing. It'll be more efficient for them to do it with a skid steer and a truck than our guys to have to do, the handwork, right?
Well, they've tried it before. We can't put a grader out there, grade it.
No.
Because on fresh blacktop, it's not gonna work.
No, the option of using one of the town's equipment is either a grader or a tracked excavator, and neither of which are appropriate for fresh asphalt, so, it'd be good to get another number, and if Norm thinks that it helps stabilize the unpaved or the the older section that's not gonna get as much, I mean, that would be worth,
One, again, it's a safety issue too,
yeah.
having a level shoulder off the side of the pavement.
I know, I just replaced a tire with a,
Had a lot of people.
Last
this
night.
tour this summer with blowouts, splitting the county.
if I could do a screen share, I'd love to show you what I had to deal with last night.
Quite a few.
Okay.
Anyway, it was in East Montpelier.
See? These roads are perfect.
I know where all our holes are. Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Anyway, well, thank you, for that. Does everybody feel like?
That was a
they've got-
little detour. Should we-
That was a big detour. Yeah, that was, sorry. Let's pivot to the draft highway department budget.
So
If we can.
John and Toby and Tyler and I. Put most of this together. We reviewed historical numbers. We talked about needs going forward, like the sand. We just heard about. The thing that we couldn't really do together was the compensation pieces, the
Mhm.
wages and benefits. So I've made assumptions about that, but of course that's subject to bargaining, subject to change. And then I plugged in the grant and capital pieces that we
Mhm.
discussed, we reviewed at the last two meetings. And put all that together and we're at almost 1.3 million. It's an increase of 14.6% year over year, which is high. But as we, once we have a better idea of where we are on the general government side, we can certainly start considering changes. I think we expect that 50% is not gonna hold. But it's a starting point. I think I said in my memo, the big drivers of this are the materials,
Right.
road maintenance materials, vehicle maintenance, which is just ungodly these days. The grant specifically doing the loose road culvert is a big chunk. And then, adding another truck.
Mhm.
It's not medical insurance this year for a change, which is good.
One of our parts for our trucks came in and it actually had a tack on $47 tariff.
Yeah,
Fair, George.
I mean, depending on the supplier, it's happening more and more, and I think, I think they're really just trying to bring some visibility to how much these costs are, adding to things.
Don't blame us.
Yeah. We're the ones paying it. The expense of the vehicle and equipment maintenance, is that largely being driven by the parts, or is it specialized labor?
Like a lot of the trucks, it's hard to find people to work on them. And if they end up going to trolley boys, it's gonna be expensive.
Mhm.
That's the warranty people and then yours. Something's under warranty, they get it and they usually get their money back if they do the warranty work, and they find something else. Some of the people in Barry are cheaper, but everything now is, nobody has money.
Mhm.
Well, that brings me back to whether or not we should push a little further to see if there's an opportunity to use certified help that's closer to our neck of the woods for any of it. I don't know how realistic that is, or how comfortable you would be with that, but
The one place in Barry we go to is Bootsy's. He's really good, but he's that good that usually there's 6-7 town trucks in there.
right.
Where were you thinking of training our own or certifying our own?
Or working with Worcester or Woodbury
Yeah.
to self-perform as much as we can. I think it's a little unique that we've got newer trucks that likely have, some of these issues are gonna be warranty related issues, and that's, part of the strategy of having the newer trucks, but if it puts us down, or also then comes with added cost for them to do non-warranty work while it's in there. It obviously makes a lot of sense to do it, but at the same time, we're getting whacked for it.
Yeah, so the truck purchasing, we buy an extended 7-year warranty for every truck and we try to get rid of them before the 7 years are up. So that we, you know, any major failures, and the coverage is pretty extensive, but oil changes, brake jobs, those kind of stuff, those are not big warranty issues. You know, it's motor, turbos, transmissions, rear ends, that kind of stuff, which is very expensive if that happens. I think the upfront cost per truck is $4,000 to $5,000 for the extended warranty. So if you have a big failure, you saved a lot of money and total expenditure of the truck.
What's not in here is the part-time road commissioner.
Mhm.
That's a savings year over year. We can discuss that, but that's sort of my feeling at this point is that probably better off without pursuing that.
Yeah, I'm filling that spot for free.
I mean, for a first pass, I don't have a ton of feedback. I mean, it's a situation that it is what it is. I think it's one of those things where we're gonna have to ruminate and start to plug it in to the rest of the budget work
Yeah.
and start to wrap our heads around what other things we might need to wrestle with to absorb an increase.
Yeah.
But are there any other questions from the select board or particular items, John, that you want us to kind of keep an eye on in the budget in particular?
I mean, it's just our materials too, like our stone stuff, like we can budget everything and then you get another storm. and that's
Right.
Out the window.
But it did seem like, based on what Kari shared and just looking at it, it looked like there was some, you know, effort to deal with that, like the unexpected is trying to factor those into FY 27 budgeting. It seemed like you guys worked that through as many of the places you could.
Well, the problem is you can't plan all of your work on the roads and say, I need X amount of gravel, I need X amount of,
Right.
you know, it's a fluctuating
Right.
as we're available, whether it's correct. We can get a lot of work done, and that holds true for winter storms, because we don't know how many times the trucks are out. Extra overtime, extra fuel, so those things are just, they can fluctuate a whole lot year to year. So, you know, we target on a trend over time and make sure that we're making sure that we know things that are going up from the past year are going to be covered just for the increase in what was used on a yearly basis.
And the other kind of acute challenge that we have in Calais is not having a ton of place to store surplus material like that anyway. So even if we did negotiate higher volumes, without having a very cooperative relationship with somebody that's just going to honor that price through the season,
They were talking about a place outside the airport.
yeah,
They was
the
in that-
day was, yeah. But still, that for me, that seems like you're gonna just run into this allocation issue unless you've got somebody who's, you know, put it in a scale or is counting buckets.
Yeah.
That's gonna turn into a real situation fast. Yeah.
What's the line striping status? I know we put in,
Yeah,
this
we,
fluctuated a
with
lot.
L&D, we have L&D lined up to do them this year, but we said to hold off until county roads paved.
Okay,
Talking fog line.
Bottom lines, yeah.
yeah. So this 6,000 budget for next year is to account for that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's, sounds like it's something that needs to happen every year. I don't know, 12,000 was too high.
Okay,
We budgeted 12,000 to do everything, because it hadn't been done in a while.
right,
And,
And usually the fog lines last a couple of years.
The-
It's not an every year kind of thing.
Right,
We had gotten a quote at some point that indicated that this is getting really expensive, we should budget up, and then those people like ghosted us, right? They never came and actually did the work. Which is why there's no actual in there.
right.
But the more recent quote we got was 6,000 should do it. So,
And are we thinking that if the paving's happening this week, are we gonna try and do that before winter? Or
Yes.
Okay,
And actually, all the paving in town we should do.
yeah,
Marshall Road and Hunting Ridge by the school.
So you could remind her,
When they're here,
I'll
we
call
should
them
get
in
them
the
to the
morning.
entire paved
yeah.
portions, who they have not been done recently.
Time, do we need to have that $6,000 in there then?
well, if we're gonna do it every year, that was the thinking.
No.
I think Toby's saying it only has to be done every 2 or
Well,
3 years.
again, it depends on the road and how many people are veering off and how much sand gets thrown over it and all that kind of stuff. So, my experience is we didn't do it every year over my 15, 20 years of being on the road involved with the labor. So we can take a chance and maybe next year, just see how it goes.
Yeah,
Or,
so there's-
or just keep it at
Or
like
keep-
$3,000
And that-
every year, and then if you're doing it every other year, and at least that keeps the budget fairly leveled out.
And
Do you-
if you don't need it, that 6,000 goes to some other line
Right,
item
yeah.
in an overrun.
Mhm,
All right, there you go.
great. We've already begun.
John, start your engines.
Do we want to spend any more time talking about certain items on here? All right.
So the other thing, I created this spreadsheet about grant monies, I don't know.
Right. I forwarded the email, I don't know if you saw.
So just to see where we're tracking every year on the grants that I've been bringing in. The interesting part is the grant and aid essentially is reimbursing us for our labor and overhead. And over time, we've had $250,000 worth of reimbursement for stuff that's already in our budget.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yep. Yeah, so grant and aid comes up every year and, right now it's been averaging 33,500 per year.
And forgive me, what's the origin of that funding?
It's the state trying to make sure towns are spending money to do the right kind of road work for the MRGP, the permit. So essentially, it's an incentive, it's a carrot that says, hey, if you do the work that we approve, we'll give you money for it.
Connected to the inventory that we just did, right? So it's those segments that are hydrologically connected and then don't meet the standards. So they're providing monies to go ahead
Thank
and
you.
improve those.
Right. So again, on grants, if it's a big project that's gonna take the town crew 2 weeks, it's better to pay the contractor to come in and do the work, as essentially you get your road crew doing regular maintenance around town, as opposed to sitting for 2 weeks in one location.
Right.
The grant and aid, we're doing stuff that we would normally do that we're not getting paid for. Culvert replacement, ditching. Surfacing. So it's all,
right,
that doesn't take them off the normal maintenance schedule, as opposed to, if they were doing the French mattress right now, we wouldn't see any road work done for 2 or 3 weeks.
right.
So that's why we sort of choose
Mhm.
what projects are appropriate for the town crew to do, and in that, we get a full replacement, and if you send it out to a contractor, you get state paid for the contractor, and then we have to pay the in-kind 20%.
Yeah, I appreciate putting this together, and then the work that Kari's been working on, and with both of you as well, is kind of like rolling in some of these other bigger projects into kind of a capital planning, because that's, for me at least, that helps a lot in helping to set those priorities on an annual basis when we.
Well, and the other thing for the capital planning is you can look far enough out, you can say, so over 5 years, I'm gonna need 300,000, and you can just put a certain amount. 1 year, you
That's
don't
right.
need it all, but if you put the 100 or 150 in, then it stabilizes the tax base for a 5-year period. You don't have to ask for, oh, I need 300,000 this year because of one project.
Right,
And then, the same holds true of your truck purchasing as well.
Yeah.
If you put a little money aside with that you don't need to pay for your liability each year, it then builds up that fund and you don't have to fluctuate the payment schedule on the tax rate every year.
excellent.
So next, meeting, we'll have, Teagan and, the clerk and the town administrator budgets, so there'll be big chunks of the general government. And then we thought we'd put the select boards portion of the budget on the agenda as well, and I'll go through that. So, and then after that, we'll start hearing from officials and boards and committees. Those folks.
John, if I can plant a seed and make a non-urgent request, another item for me, I guess, is in this long-term planning and thinking about, how can we be smarter and leveraging these dollars longer is for longer periods of time, is starting to track the expenses of managing very specific problem areas in every year, like the problem. I think many of us who are in the community kind of know where these wallows are every mud season, and to start tracking how much material is going into them and how much time for man hours are going into those particular areas, and do we shift our strategy on any of those particular areas to put them on that capital plan for 5 years out.
We go to.
Exactly. But at some point we have to quantify what those segments of road are
So through
consuming.
experience, you find places that recur. So like
Yeah.
Worcester Road was a nightmare.
Yeah,
We bring 10 or 12 10-wheelers up there every spring.
right.
We finally said enough. We did what we call a box cut. We just took everything out.
Yeah.
Down to the base, rebuilt the base, put in cross drainage. And we haven't been up there in mud season in 10 years.
Right.
So essentially it's identifying problem. The problem is, point pops up over here, we fixed this, but oh my God, point came up over here.
Yeah.
So the problem is you have to sort of do historically, where did it shoot up? And how severe is it in this area? So, Kent Hill Road, there's clay boils on Kent Hill Road. We've done Kent Hill Road clay boils 6 or 7 times and
Yeah.
they still come up.
Yeah.
So, we would literally have to dig up the entire road in order to not have that happen. So, every mud season, you gotta get the grade stakes out, and when you know you have a section, put the grade stakes in and then do the plan for the next grant cycle to say, what do we have to do? I can give money for class 2 repairs. That was what Moscow Woods was.
Yeah.
But for the most part, the other segments like that would have to be better roads or grant and aid to do that kind of work. Because structures doesn't cover that.
Mhm.
So there's better roads, there's grant and aid, and then class 2, any of the class 2 roads would qualify for grants. And sometimes we just have to do it without getting a grant.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the point, is that like at some point
And so again, your target area is gonna happen every year.
Yeah.
So essentially, maybe at the end of every month season, you say, here are the list, which ones do you guys wanna prioritize? And we'll tackle them and keep going.
Yeah.
But don't forget that one's still there, because next year it's gonna come up again.
Right.
That you didn't get.
Yeah. I just want to start making the list, that's all.
Lists are fun. Yeah, I'm good with lists, as you.
Yeah, I know. Doesn't cost anything theoretically to start the list,
Okay.
but once we have, yeah,
Yeah.
perfect. Thank you. Thanks, Toby, and thanks, John, appreciate it.
Great.
Yeah. Yes, please.
Where's your brother?
It's so short. Yeah, right.
Your public comment?
Yeah.
Dude, what about my taxes?
There we go.
Told me I'm taxed more because of the bloated bodies in my front yard. We have a lot of drug activity there. It's to the point where the rescue trucks sit on, Valentine Road, waiting for 2 troopers to arrive before they go to the houses.
Oh,
And it's crazy.
It's really crazy. I do think that it's been getting better in some of the areas though, as the metrics, but.
Oh, another thing is something very, very odd happened to us. Remember that told you that my cousin Billy did?
Oh, yeah,
He sent a message to us,
voicemail.
a voicemail about when we did Tucker, graded Tucker Road, and he said that he goes, I don't compliment people very often. I'm going to do it this time. You guys did an unbelievable job on Tucker Road. And he just went on and on. I'm like, this cannot be done.
Is he okay?
He used up the entire voicemail space and left another message.
Yeah.
Well,
That was out of character.
But it might change, you know.
yeah, well, enjoy it while it lasts, and then I guess I'll pile on, I think that. The roads, the grading has looked really great.
Yeah.
A lot of that's Ed.
Yeah,
I'm grading, Tyler's grading. When we get a hold of Bruce comes in. He's been busy putting the garage up. But Bruce and Ed are the seasoned guys. I mean,
Yeah.
They know the roads.
Yeah.
And Ogden, oh my God, Craftsbury Garage is sending somebody to school, different grader schools in the local roads. We have the local road school, it's not very good.
so what I was referring to is reading on is like the Pennsylvania road program, which you're obviously probably familiar with, and I think I've been accused of being in cahoots because of the Pennsylvania connection between the two of us, but we came at it separately, and
Who's a road scholar?
they have a program down there, and it seems like it's pretty open. And if we have to
Oh, send someone away?
send somebody away for a program that is gonna cover something more in depth than maybe we can find locally, then I think we should keep an eye out for it.
I've been called Craftsbury Garage, because
Yeah.
they were talking about it. And it's a different school, and I think it's gonna be, they have to pay for it, they're sending 2 guys to it, I'm gonna find out where it's at.
Yeah.
And that's Ogden's got an interest in wanting to go to grade school.
Okay,
He's your younger guy, you
Yeah.
might be the one
Yeah.
here.
and it's hard to find the time when the work needs to be done.
That's
so-
our big trouble, like even with Ogden, when we were helping get his license, well, now we got 2 guys in 1 truck. Like everybody's looking at you going through the pit and all that, like, oh, you guys got 2 guys, but it's because of that, but it did pay off, thanks. It did.
But yeah, I really appreciate putting in the time to help them do that. I think that's a huge advantage for the town, for sure, in the long run.
Yeah, and it makes us attractive as a employer.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, John.
Okay.
Have a good
Thank
night.
you very much, have a good evening.
Good night.
Thank you.
Boy, oh boy. So the next steps for the budgeting are gonna be to start with these numbers then for
Yeah, so like I said,
Those
we're
are
gonna
you.
see, a good chunk of the general government next time.
yeah,
Where you'll have a better sense, I think, of what the totals are gonna look like.
Christie, did you have anything sorry,
Shoot.
for, somebody's gonna have to flag me if there are any, if you're flailing your arms with burning questions for
It's
all
all
of these.
good. I'm listening carefully. I have nothing I need to say, so thank you.
Okay, fair enough. All right, well then I think we'll move on from that, and not saying that we've got any other members of the public other than Tegan, unless you've got a public comment.
I do not
We'll
have any
move on.
public comment.
We'll move on to the administrative items. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes? How are we gonna do this? Who was here it was
I was here.
Just the 3.
3 of us.
Just three.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
So moved.
Approved, thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
I,
I will abstain.
Thank you. Vote to approve the board orders which were posted to the shared drive by Kari. Hopefully everybody's had an opportunity to review those. Does anybody have any questions?
I move to approve the board order.
Thank you, Jamie.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. And the omissions
There's
certificate,
nothing this time.
no, okay,
Yeah, John believes that we will need a board of abatement hearing for the veterans exemptions.
oh, okay,
One that's forthcoming and one that you approved last time as an error of admissions. He discovered it's not really qualified as that needs to, it actually needs an abatement. So that's unfortunate because I mean, bringing like 15 people
Right.
together.
yeah,
But we'll figure that out. I think people can participate by Zoom and we'll schedule it right before select board. I know.
okay. Well, that brings us up to a little bit of catch up. Closer to schedule for the MERP grant
Yeah,
discussion.
Bob's not here, so
Yep.
I'd say let's just proceed. He's not joining us.
Okay, can we have that discussion then without him? Yeah, okay,
I think it's fine. He offered to attend, so
Okay.
I thought he'd be here, but he's not, so
Okay.
that's fine. So the MERP grant is the Municipal Energy Resilience Program. I think it was ARPA money or some version of
Yeah.
COVID era federal money, and it was intended for improvements to municipal infrastructure that's energy related. And I think the idea was that it could be used for energy audits, so that data could then be used to make, proposals about actual improvements to municipal buildings. We didn't need it for an energy audit, so it's $4,000, and it's actually already been paid to the town. So we just need to demonstrate an appropriate use of that by December of 26. And so talk to you about using it for window dressers. So Bob and Bill Powell and I have had a couple discussions about this, and they actually don't need any additional funds this year for scholarships or subsidizing income eligible folks. So what they need is $600 to pay for the use of the space, which is gonna be the Waitsfield Church. So that's a start. We'll have to be sure to use up the rest of it next year by December, but I think with good planning, we should be able to do that. And if not, I'll have some alternative use worked up by that. There are a number of things that we can do. So that's the proposal, is to allocate $600 of this MERP grant towards the use of the church for the window dressers community bill in November.
You said in November?
Yeah, November 13th through 20th.
Do we need to vote on that or?
Probably.
I think so, yeah.
somebody like to make a motion?
I would make a motion that we utilize $6,000 of the MERP funding for the
600.
600.
for the window dressers program.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Very good. Thank you very much, everyone. We've got reports. Tegan, you want to go first?
Sure. Barbara's been having some personal things going on the last week or so, but Kari and I are picking up the slack. Lots of tax checks coming in, so we're trying to make sure we get those processed in a timely manner. It's one of my favorite times of year. I like seeing all these people I don't get to see very often, so that's nice. I did a webinar, and it was an elections webinar through the University of Minnesota last week. It was just sort of, given the current administration in all the flavors that can mean, what it's like to be an election official. So it was designed for everyone from Secretary of State's offices down to people like me. It was really informative and helpful from a legal perspective and from a big picture perspective to kind of, I don't know, just to listen to a bunch of people who really knew what they were talking about. It was a good opportunity. Other than that, working on the budget, and yeah, I think that's all I have to share unless you all have questions for me.
No, thanks, Deacon. All right,
So I wanted to bring up the Kent Hill Road project.
Yep.
And, mentioned in the memo that the bid documents actually left out a layer of fabric that's called for in the design. So that resulted in a change order of $7,667. I went ahead and approved that just to keep this process moving. And that will put us over budget, our contribution by $1,719, so hope that's okay. And then we found out last week, I found out Friday, that the foreman at least doesn't intend to be done by the end of this week. And I had gotten assurances that they would be done by the end of this week. So the foreman's boss said, we'll do everything we can. I'm not holding my breath. But I did inform Nell Emlyn, and so she's making plans to communicate that, and detours are gonna be required, but it's a bummer.
Yeah. Did they promise they would have it done? And now they're not doing it?
That's right.
So what do we do about that?
Make them feel bad?
Well, I mean,
So it wasn't in the contract?
No, we don't really have a formal contract. We have a signed,
well, essentially,
In terms of the date, completion date,
Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
they're not gonna.
there was no, in the contract, there was no,
there's no contract.
all right, okay,
Yeah.
all right,
I have 2 emails at least saying, yeah, we'll get it done by then,
okay.
I guess
but that's, yeah.
I share, I mean, the disappointment. My struggle with this particular project is that it was relatively scant on details for specifications at like the whole thing, you know, so I heard on the contractor side that it was kind of scant on details, and you know, I think they tried to be as competitive as they could be, and they were, and now we're finding out why there were, you know, probably such good pricing, and at the same time, there was like a couple of days of back and forth there relative to the questions about permits and special handling of other things that, you know, tempered people's expectations about it, you know, coming out of the gates more aggressively, but you know, whatever, that's not unique. I don't know what there is to do without a contract and a firm deadline of saying when we were gonna need to have something done by, you know, I think it would be great if we start as you know, as a group, we get better at understanding, you know, what kinds of things we would want to see in agreement. So even if we just have basic agreements for these types of things, we can have a little more leverage in the situation, something short of a full-on contract, but at least a memo of understanding or something like that.
Is it fairly sure it will at least be done by the Thursday
The
of
following
the
week.
following week, so that it only disrupts 1 week of the Kent instead of multiple weeks?
I don't even know. I don't wanna say, really. It seemed to me like they had half of the road dug up on Friday. And so I can't see why it wouldn't, although Larry, the foreman, said that his main concern was if the, where they're sourcing the material, which is McCullough, if they would be able to keep up, you know, with providing the material. So I will speak with the supervisor on Wednesday and I'll have a better sense of that.
Okay, keep cracking the whip, Kari. I did have a question, Kari, on this whole dispute about the textile between the engineer and the contractor. I mean, are you satisfied that we're doing what we need to do there?
Yeah, I think it's
Relevant.
unfortunate the source of that issue was that, there were two versions of the diagram. Toby showed them both to me. One says that layer of fabric's not needed. The other one said, specify that it needs to happen. We confirmed it with the engineer that it's their recommendation. They believe it's best to have that layer of material there. The contractor didn't think it was a good idea, actually. but-
That's what I'm talking about. We've got this disagreement between our engineer and our contractor, and we're going with the engineer, and we feel okay about that? Just check in.
Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah, generally in my experience, you would go with the engineer. That's a more defensible position for the town, not being an expert myself.
The fabric
Yeah,
is to keep bonds from going and a bigger stone, is that what it's there for?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and their concern is that the contractor's concern is that the fabric will clog
With
with fines.
yeah, and then they'll have the same issue we have now.
Yeah,
I don't know, it'd be the same issue. The way that the French mattress is designed is you've got like the layer of fabric on the bottom, and then you've got very coarse gravel in the or drainage stone in the middle, and then the fabric on the top. And so the part that you want to keep from getting clogged is going to be that coarse layer in the middle, which is going to allow the water to migrate back and forth. So if I think the risks of the fabric getting clogged, the roadbed material might start holding material, but I still don't think you would see the same heaving, because you would need the whole structure to heave.
Question of, like,
It's-
maybe the
it's-
assumption is the water was going through, and that's not actually what it's designed to do, it's designed to have it go right.
You still want it to
Yeah.
sheet off of the top,
Yeah.
so even if the fabric on the top gets clogged, it's gonna sheet off to the side, or just keep that top layer saturated. I think it's a greater risk of that lower layer getting permeated with fines, and then eventually starting to clog up to the point that now you still have a structure that's starting to heave and retain water. So I think it's probably worth putting down, now that I've talked myself into it, but my concern with the fabric, especially with like 2 layers of fabric, is anything like that is going to have a shelf life in one of these structures, and at some point it's going to be a maintenance problem. And having a layer of fabric that close to the top surface of the road, if we're going through with graders and that sort of thing, if there is movement, it may have a tendency to want to walk its way up in through the road, like the roadbed surface. So I think it's probably a safer bet to have it in there and give the structure the best chance of working. The only diagrams I've ever seen of it they're very explicit about wanting that sandwich created. And so I would say it's probably worth doing.
The other 2 things I wanted to mention were, I found out last week, it sounds like the traffic calming study on Route 14 is not gonna happen this year. They are waiting for material approval from the state, and for some reason that takes a long time. So that's disappointing. That's 2 years in a row. And then, we've identified October 16th to start labor contract bargaining. So that'll give us plenty of time to prepare, and we'll have that on the agenda next time to go through proposals.
And there's already been some initial meetings with the
Our team,
firm, yeah. And
No.
our team.
Monday,
It says the 15th in your notes, did you just miss?
the 3 of us are gonna meet on Monday,
Uh-huh.
Gotcha.
and then the following week, we'll have an executive session to talk about that.
Right.
I assume since I'm not mowing anymore, I'm in the executive sessions, is that correct? Or how do you feel about that?
The executive session for this meeting?
No, for the, for.
Yeah,
Road crew.
Road
we talk about the bargaining. That sounds appropriate.
Um. Yeah, I mean, if you're not mowing anymore, then,
Have you resigned? Road crew member?
If you want me to do that, I'll do that.
I mean, if you resign, there would be no question.
Right,
You
yeah.
could participate in.
Well, we can talk about it some more.
Yeah.
Okay,
We didn't really talk about your long term.
yeah.
So Bill Powell and Bob are on.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
great. Yeah, I think we're done with reports, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
So, Bill and Bob, or maybe it's just Bob at this point. Hey, we were right on schedule, so we already finished, they approved the use of the grant for the, paying for the, use of the church.
Oh, great. Thank you. And my apologies for being late. I totally slipped my mind.
Okay,
Yeah.
No problem.
and, yeah, and then we'll just have to, get creative about the use of it, the remaining $3,400 for the next bill.
Okay. Sounds good. And Kari, it's your, I know we've talked about this a little bit in emails, but it's your opinion that we won't be able to really utilize that money for, folks that are receiving the inserts, correct? Mostly just for, costs and expenses.
No, no, I think it can be used for income eligible folks, but,
Okay.
I thought you didn't have a need for that this year. Did I misunderstand?
Yeah, we don't this year, but I think next year that would be great to be
Yeah.
able to offer that. So that's great. So I
Yeah,
appreciate everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, I shared with Bob that I got some mixed messages from the state about using the grant money that way.
Uh-huh.
But I'm pretty satisfied after talking to the person in Montpelier. They were able to do it, so I don't see why we wouldn't be able to. Sam Lash has some recommended language to use, because it's federal money.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bob, I'm confident that we can do that.
Okay, great. That's wonderful. And I would just like to thank everyone. Kari, did you kind of go through some of the stats that I sent you or?
No, do you want to run through that again? That'd be great.
Sure. I just want to, I won't go into too much detail because I'm sure you guys want to get out of here, but, we did have, we kind of met our goal. Our goal was 60 this year, so significantly more than last year. And we received, we're about 110% of that goal right now. So we have like 66 to 70 inserts. It's possible we'll have a few more by the end. And we're pretty much done with the outreach piece just because we're going to max out with the town collaborative that we're with probably over 300 for the build. So it went really well. And two of the households that we were able to get the inserts had special pricing, meaning, they required some discounts, if not almost a complete discount, just to get them in their houses. And one of the individuals who we gave quite a few of these inserts to was telling us that her costs, and she's a single mom, but her costs for heating is in excess of $900 a month. So I think that's kind of like the perfect person that we're trying to get to, that kind of makes a meaningful difference to both from financial and comfort. So I just appreciate it. I think it's a good initiative, and there's a lot of interest in Calais this year. So it was great.
That's a great program. Yeah, thank you, Bob. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, I'll get off unless there's any questions. And
Well, that's great work. Thank you.
Thank you.
okay. And again, sorry for being late.
No problem. Thank you.
Okay. Take care.
All right. Well, that brings us to our last item, which is
Everybody look at the Washington County Sheriff's report,
Yeah.
and that was.
Hey, can you guys put your video back on?
Yeah.
Thank
Oh.
you.
I think we were having a little, the owl was doing something weird there.
Yeah.
Like stop recording or change microphones. I think sorry.
Okay. Yeah, someone got arrested, I guess.
Well, yeah, this, you see some of the speeds here, and it's, it's good to have them here because it puts people on notice. I mean, 73 and a 50 on Route 14, goodness gracious.
I'm not
So,
surprised.
I'm not either, but
Yeah,
I get that all the time.
yeah.
no, we're glad we have them.
Yeah,
That's all I had to say.
okay.
Thank you, Bill.
Mhm.
So we have the performance evaluation. I think it would be appropriate to go into executive session to go through that evaluation. So because it's our last agenda item and I expect to adjourn immediately following, we will go into executive session. And obviously invite Kari in. We'll keep Zoom on without recording so we can have Christy participate. But I think everybody else could probably be dismissed, and then we'll come out and record when we've come out and report back on anything in particular. I can't imagine that we're going to take any particular actions immediately following. So if that sounds like a good plan for everyone, then that's what I'd propose doing. Yeah,
Sounds good.
great. So under VSA 1, section 313 A-3, I would like to entertain a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of a evaluation of a public employee.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Second.
All right. All in favor and exiting the executive session? My brain is starting.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Aye. And none opposed. We don't
Wait.
have any. Oh,
Is there something we need to do because I'm remote? Is there like,
we need to, I guess technically it's a roll call. So we'll just represent that everybody voted in the affirmative.
yes, okay, that's fine.
And there were there was no opposition. And there's nothing to report publicly other than a huge thank you to Kari, and we'll continue to press on with the budgeting process.
Thank you.
Sounds good.
We're adjourned.
Now, speaking of community time interruptions, I'm gonna go back and run payroll, because I didn't have time. Interrupted all day.
I will look forward to seeing you in person next time.
Your workplace is, oh my God, no privacy.
I think that's
Thank
that,
you.
right?
But I'm gonna say, Jamie, that, I gave up on that store. I gave up on it. Because there's nothing I could buy there. Now I go there, there's stuff that I want to buy, stuff I want to consume, people I want to see.
Yeah.
It's a big change for me because I wouldn't do it, and
Yeah. I think that.
I'm my grill,
Yeah,
so, yeah.
it's awesome. It's, the
Thank you.
place is.
So
This is a interface for
Oh, okay.
I really.
And then, so after the fact, you're going in and filling in the.
Yeah, so it's changed a little bit. They did an interface update, but like every week. So you can have projects and all kinds of different things. If you can choose things, one day at a time, you can assign colors to it. But I mean, I'm just tracking things that my role is, right? So most days it's 9 to 5 and that sort of thing, and I was instructing them.
But there's only
So
For 8 hour blocks?
I had a month ago.
well, so I stopped doing it, breaking up my,
Oh.
my day job.
And
It's like my goal is. So I'm not managing acutely, so my total hours, and my PTO, and then,
Yeah.
Gotcha.
and then
As
I've
it
got,
becomes
you know, if I start typing
it's a
in,
good place to work.
If I wanted to
People
start
are
a new
coming
one.
Out of the woodwork, you know.
if I click on my,
Work and.
tabs, I've got
You guys stay on
my
top of it.
different,
Make yourself
different
always
roles that are already preloaded,
Spiral out.
and then I just
You
add
find-
the
you
hours.
find-
Yeah,
Exactly.
It's so easy,
Yeah.
Yeah, but
and then
having
you
it consistent.
just click on reports, and then it's just gonna spit out
Yeah.
diagnostics on my
Also, right,
phone.
we can have that.
Things, right? My biggest issue with any of these systems is like,
And just like people who are
if
enthusiastic.
it doesn't work into my normal
Sundays are
flow,
usually.
I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
And if it's too granular, or
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do it. And then you've done something for a quarter, and
Oh, there you go.
I've been doing it, I guess now,
People love
a year and a half.
Cause it's integrated into your daily practice sort of thing.
Just cause it, yeah, and,
Usually is, yeah.
and the interface is really good, like,
Yeah.
one, yeah. We're-
Oil dripping in my face. Rig clean in my armpit. Really? I remember.
I think it's fun.
It is.
It's got a lot of features on it.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, really. Oh, where you are, you get much, you get, you know, oh, yeah, you know, right, yeah.
Yeah. Well, he over there, right?
I'm just talking.
Doing that last time, or
No.
the last meeting, 2 weeks ago? Oh, yeah.
Done.
Hmm.